Well, I think it's time we address the elephant in the room, which obviously is decorations. I wish they made this system like at least let me choose between different stats so I can play around and make the system more interactive. Because the current edition is literally just swipe and get damage. Which, like, imagine if you were able to pick like from counter attack, defense, HP, damage reduction taken, movement speed, like I could play so much more with this system around rather than being as basic as it is. But anyways, today I want to go over my recommendation on how you should work on decoration based on if you're free to play, low spend, mid spend. I'm not gonna go over the high spenders or whales because the truth is the system is pretty basic. You're just gonna max them out all and you're gonna enjoy the stats. But for the rest of the human beings, I think it's important to min-max how you're gonna develop your decorations. So, we're gonna start with the basics. There's 3 tiers of decorations, although in theory there's only legendaries and epics, which is the good legendaries, the bad legendaries, and the epic ones. So for a good legendary, we understand the ones that start at 0.5% legion attack. The bad legendaries are the ones that start at 0.3% attack, and the epic ones start at 0.1% attack. Now, the issue with the system is how these decorations develop. Because if we check a good legendary, you can get 5% attack, 5% defense, 3% damage dealt. Now, lots of people are talking about the stats itself. For me, the 5% attack, 5% defense, not that huge of a deal. For me, the big deal is the damage dealt. I'm gonna explain you why. One, I come from Rise of Kingdoms. I'm not guaranteed in this game that it exists. I'm pretty sure it does, but I speak usually with one person who knows a lot of like in-depth data and like getting some of those files that showcase the combat system. And he told me that he didn't, at least for now, found evidence of diminishing returns. I do believe they are. I asked CS, he told me there is, and I come from Rise of Kingdoms where there are guaranteed diminishing returns. Now, where are diminishing returns is when you, for example, let's say you go from 0 to 50% attack. Every single point of attack or percentage is going to give you, for example, a correlation of 1% damage increase. But when you go from 50% to 100% extra attack, now maybe it's not anymore 1% that you're getting, but 0.8. And when you go from 100 to 150, is 0.5. So, in simple words, the higher your stat goes, the less value it's giving you. That's usually why, for example, in Rise of Kingdoms, everyone tried to have balanced stats, especially the defense and the HP, because that was the most effective to increase your PvP capacity. I'm gonna start with the premise that is the same here. So why is damage dealt so important? Damage dealt, you barely get it in your account, so you're not really hitting diminishing returns, and I'm pretty sure there's not even diminishing returns for this stat. Furthermore, it's pretty much a correlation on it increases your overall damage that your March deals, and not like specific instances of, for example, your skill damage, your counter-attack damage, your normal attack. It overall increases your damage output. That's why it's so important. Now, if you, after this you're still not convinced, let's use a bit of logic. Why do you think from level 1 to 5, or I guess from level 1 to 4, there's no damage dealt, and damage dealt starts at level 5? Let's be honest, it's 0.6. They could have literally split 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. They could have made this way more even in terms of damage dealt. But they are clearly gatekeeping the damage dealt above level 5, which is where decorations get the most expensive. Furthermore, which is the stat that is not in any of the other types of decorations, damage dealt. Logically, you can tell that this stat is way more premium because it's not everywhere, it's on the most expensive items, it's way harder to get. Furthermore, if we check heroes like Emeris, who does really well, he has increased damage dealt on the 4th skill. If we check Urag, in his 2nd skill, he has damage dealt bonus. So I do believe there's a correlation with damage dealt being that strong. Like, always that you see damage dealt is low amounts of numbers and not high, which that tells me that low amounts of numbers already have a decent impact on the game. So with that out of the way, we already know that the real deal are the 0.5%. For free to play, my recommendation is gonna be focus on 0.5%. You're still gonna work on those. You have events, for example, the Black Friday Bonanza. You can get some currencies here even as free to play. Spend 0. Like, honestly, look, I didn't even claim this. So I have 3, yeah, I'm getting this. Okay, you can get still some of those currencies, and over time you're gonna develop. Now, the main thing is you're not gonna work on full 0.5s, because the truth is you don't want to be bringing them all to level 2, and then all to level 3, and then all to level 4. What you want to do is get one as fast as you can to level 5. Okay, ideally, to be honest, level 6, because then you get a 2x increase, which is really huge, and then it's just increments that are, like, as you can see, it doesn't get anywhere else a 2x increase in damage dealt. So ideally, you bring it to level 6. Once you have that level 6, you're gonna work on another one. Now, what do we do with the other 4 decorations? Honestly, at the current state of the game, my recommendation is gonna be to work on epics. Why? At max level... Okay, wait, I'm gonna split it to be more precise. So obviously you're gonna start with these weak legendaries, but for example, this epic mine is already outmatching a basic legendary level 1, and is the same as a legendary level 2 of the weak tier. So epic ones are way easier to get, are way cheaper, although I do believe they're still kind of expensive, they are way cheaper, and they require less merits to get. So it is most likely for you to be able to acquire epic ones at max level than legendaries. And at max level, the only thing you will be missing is 1% of each stat. Now, sure, if you account for 4, that's gonna be 4% and 4%, but still is not huge, and you are way more likely to get the epic ones higher. Now, let's say, for example, you get lucky and you get a lot of the same legendary all the time. Sure, activate it. But what I'm saying is, you're probably gonna end up with one good 0.5% that you're gonna be increasing over time, and you're gonna end up with 4 epics. That's my recommendation, that's the path I say you should follow. The main reason is you cannot really like aspire currently with the current ways to achieve 0.5 decorations to get more of those. And you really don't want to be like, sure, for example, unlocking all of them at even the basic level gives you 0.5% attack. But again, like, the moment you get the 0.7 epic, it's already gonna, well, I mean, not even that. At level 5, an epic one is gonna already outmatch a basic one, a 0.5 level 1, so my recommendation is focus on epics. Now, for low spends and misspends, my recommendation is to work on 2 to 3 0.5s. And again, your goal is gonna be, you grab one, you bring it to level 6, you get this extra damage dealt. Again, remember, the main reason I'm saying level 6 is because from here to here, you have a 2x increase in damage dealt. You're gonna do 1 to 6, you're gonna do the other 1 to 6, and then you're gonna do the other one to 0.6. At that point, you probably already have either basic or the weak legendaries to level max, or the epic ones. Once you get those to level 6, then you're gonna start developing another one. The main reason I'm saying this is because I myself, for example, when I was trying to clear up the merit shop, look, clear example, I see the epic ones, and which one did I buy? The legendary one. The truth is, epic ones are way cheaper, you can get them every single day on the daily supply, so you can even get them now in the Behemoth trials. You can get them in, where is it? Let me see if I get one. You in theory, see? You can even get them here. Let me see if you can get the legendary. I don't think so, or at least I haven't seen proof, but you can get epic ones. So again, you're gonna have max epics if you focus on those. But if you, like me at the first days, you say like, I don't want epics, they're too weak, I'm gonna skip them, and you start spending your merits and your currencies on other things, you will not max the epic, and you're gonna have to end up buying the more expensive ones, which are the legendaries, and are really not that much worth. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think for a 1% increase per unit of sculpture, it's worth. For me, the worth it things are, like in order, obviously the 0.5s, then the epics, then the weak legendaries. If they added like, I mean, what is it, 3% all damage. If they added, for example, here 1% to 1.5% all damage at the max level, I'd be like, yes, focus on the weak legendaries. But the truth is, I don't feel they're worth. So I'm gonna just say it once more. The key is damage dealt. Free to play, you just focus on a single 0.5 legendary until you get it to level 6, then obviously you develop another one, but that's gonna take you a long time unless they introduce other ways to get the 0.5s. If you're low to mid spend, you're gonna be focusing, low spend probably 2, so you're gonna be grinding them both to 0.6, and then for the third one, if you're mid spend, you can really go with 3. Now, when I say focus, okay, is in this event is not that clearly obvious, but in that last one, if you remember, you had a currency that you could use on a shop. That's where the low and mid spend are able to work on several of those, because you're gonna be able to buy specific decorations through that shop, and you want to make sure you buy them. My recommendation for low and mid spends is, rather than bringing the first one to level 6, is to bring them all to level 5, because it's going to be way cheaper overall, and then you just bring them all at once to level 6, and then you focus on the other one. That will be the pathing. Sadly, is the only real options we have right now. I made the suggestion, there's lots of suggestions regarding the system. For me, the changes that need to happen is, 1, the weak legendaries make no sense. You either buff them or remove them. This is not valuable at all. We need more ways. A free-to-play needs to be able to grind this. Whether it takes 1 year or 300 years is different. The issue is right now for me, this is purely pay-to-win gatekeep, and I don't like that. I'm not a free-to-play myself, but still I just don't like the feeling that I am forced to spend on this, because otherwise there's no way for me to progress. I already have lots of things to spend on as a new player. T5s, exemplar wishes, artifacts themselves, marches, heroes development, technology, and now I have decorations. I feel kind of overwhelmed as a new player. So I think they need to remove the weak legendaries, makes no sense. Give us some way to grind this over time, even if it's like a long over time. And the epic ones, probably are the best one. In correlation of how easy they are to achieve versus the amount of stuffs they give, they're pretty much the most optimal thing, to be honest. But yeah, hopefully this sets you on a path on how to develop them. And finally, I'm gonna say, in order of priority for me right now is obviously getting to T5, but then is decorations. Exemplar wishes are good. The issue is they are only gonna help you in the march that you have the exemplar wish, until you have exemplar wishes on all your marches. And there's RNG that you're not gonna get the exemplar wish that you need. Versus this, which is 100% guaranteed upgrade in your marches. It doesn't matter your march, the buffs are universal. You know if you swipe you're gonna get the upgrades, there's no RNG involved. So yeah, I think this for me right now is really important. Hope this was helpful, and as always, catch you in the next one.